Hi folks, this is just a quick review, a quick walk around of the MSR Skinny One one-man single skin backpacking tent. Quite an unusual design. It dates back I think to 2009 and I think it was produced up to about 2013. This is one of the later examples. So it's a one person, single skin as I say, 3-season tent, tunnel design. As you can see it has DAC poles, two of, with a centre sleeve at either end and then a quick clip system, just a couple of clips on either side, so it's actually really quick to put up, an absolute cinch. This one came with a free footprint as well. I'm sorry, it's not free, but it's also underneath there, which gives a wee bit of extra ground protection. It's actually it's about 1.5 kilos I think, but it's actually quite a strong material on it. It reminds me actually of a North Face V25 fabric, which is the one I used to have at one time. So it's not ultralight, it's actually probably much better made than some ultralight tents and quite strong. I'll just show you the inside here. It's got two side guy lines, but there's also additional guying points down here, so you can add another couple of guys on either side. It comes with MSR pegs, which I think actually are very similar, probably the same design as the Hilleberg Yinan ones, with just a kind of loop on the top. It looks like an aluminium extrusion, quite light. It has a strange kind of venting system. I say strange, it's probably quite good. But what you've got in effect is a mesh roof and a channel running right along under the top of the hoop here, so air can run right through. So I've just spent the first night in the MSR Skinny One one-man single skin tent, which I think was discontinued in about 2013, but I bought one on a whim as a potential summer tent. So last night was very still and very, very wet, so ideal conditions to test a single skin. And as you can probably see, the usual moisture, it's not particularly run down the side of the walls because the venting runs right across the top here. There's a big mesh upper and a vent at the front here. And there's also at the back, I don't know if you can see it, there's a big vent there which you can actually unzip the whole of the back of the tent and sleep under the stars effectively as just a midgie net instead of tent fabric. So that works very well actually. You'd be really good on nice nights. But I slept well, and the moisture doesn't seem to have run down onto the sleeping bag, which is a bonus, despite the very still and very, very wet night. And it's certainly watertight, no problem at all. And when you're in it and you're lying down, it's quite roomy. The headspace is a wee bit limited, but it's very long, so if you're a tall person, sleeping would be no bother. So yeah, it was quite successful. I wanted to show you this feature that's quite neat in this tent, is that there's a mesh running right along the ceiling all the way from the front to the back, and then up here you have a zip access where you can basically use it also as a gear loft. There's actually cold air running right along here, pushed in from a vent above my head. And then I'll show you at the back here you have, as an effect, a massive open end, just without pouring water into the tent here. So this is completely open, so you can sleep under the stars if you just turn yourself around here, which you could easily do because the tent is virtually the same width all the way along. Quite a nice feature, and obviously pretty critical in a single skin for venting, but also they make something quite interesting out of the whole idea. At the vestibule end of the tent, you've got actually not a bad amount of space. I could easily cook in here. When you put your gear in, it's because of the narrowness of it, you probably have to clamber over your rucksack and make sure you put stuff in the right place. But as a wee single skin 3-season tent, it's quite a bonus just to have that room. And you've also got a full midgie net as well, so you can seal that off while still venting it quite nicely but keep the old bugs out. So that's quite good, and a tiny little pocket on the left hand side here and one pocket at the rear, and that's it. The vestibule is quite generous, so you'll get a pack and all your gear in it, plus you'll be able to cook in it quite well. And it also has two-way zips for venting, and probably a variety of ways you can actually pin it back. Just in terms of getting in and out, depending on where the wind is, you could either leave the middle open or take a side away and climb in from the side. So it's quite flexible that way. I've also just closed the vent as well, just to show you that. So not particularly well done, but you can see you can close off the ram air vent.